John George Haigh was born on the 24th of July 1909, in Stamford, Lincolnshire. His parents were John, an engineer, and Emily. The family moved to Outwood, West Riding of Yorkshire when John was younger, and they were members of the Protestant Church, Plymouth Brethren. Haigh was a fan of classical music and played the piano. He was a good student who won scholarships to Queen Elizabeth Grammar School and Wakefield Cathedral, where he became a choir boy. Haigh had an odd sense of humor and was bullied at school. When he finished school, Haigh worked as an apprentice engineer at a firm. He was subsequently fired for adding sugar to his boss's petrol tank. He held other jobs in insurance and advertising but was once again fired after he was accused of stealing from the cash box. In 1934, Haigh married Betty Hamer. However, the marriage didn't last long. He was arrested 4 months later for a car fraud and was sentenced to 15 months in prison. While he was in prison, Betty gave birth to a daughter. She left Haigh and also gave the child up for adoption. In 1936, Haigh was released from prison and he moved down to London. He became a chauffeur to arcade owner, William McSwan, who later became his first victim. He left his employment with McSwan and invented a new persona, William Cato Adamson. Adamson was a solicitor, with multiple office locations including London and Guildford, Surrey, where he sold fraudulent stocks and shares to unsuspecting victims. This scam came to an end when someone noticed Guildford was misspelt on his letterhead. He was handed a 4-year prison sentence for fraud but subsequently spent time in and out of prison for the next several years. During his last stretch in prison, Haigh realized the reason he kept getting caught was that his victims were able to alert the authorities. From here, Haigh learned about French murderer, Georges Alexander Seraing, who had disposed of his victims' bodies by using sulfuric acid. Haigh began to experiment it with field mice. In 1943, Haigh was released from prison and began his murder game. On the 18th of February 1949, Olive traveled the hour journey with him to his workshop, where he shot her in the neck with Dr. Henderson's revolver. After that, Olive's image was in the newspapers and distributed by officers to taxi drivers, but no one had seen her since her departure from the hotel. Another occupant of the hotel came forward to tell police that she had seen Olive in the lobby of the hotel that morning. Olive had told the witness that she was driving to Crawley with Mr. Haigh. He had been the only witness to see her alleged solo departure from the hotel that day. Sims set about getting inside of the workshop in Crawley. The inside of the workshop was sparse, with a few boxes, tools and empty bottles of sulfuric acid, littered the sideboards. The windows were painted over and there was little light entering the building. The only item that looked out of place was a locked leather hat box, which was taken into evidence. Haigh confessed to killing Olive, the MCSWs and the Hendersons, as well as 3 other people. However, this couldn't be proved. He told police that drinking the blood of his victims was driving him insane. However, there was no proof he ever did this. Forensics soon realized that the brown sludge behind the workshop was human remains, and on closer inspection, pathologist Keith Simpson found 28 pounds of body fat, part of a foot, gallstones and part of a denture, which was identified as Olive Durand Deacons at the trial by her dentist. In early August 1949, Haigh was put on trial at Sussex Assizes in Lewes. The jury took only minutes to deliberate his fate. They found him sane and guilty of murdering 6 people, and that he would not be allowed to appeal his sentencing. On Wednesday 10th of August 1949, John George Haigh, the acid bath murderer, was hanged at Wandsworth Prison, while a crowd of around 500 people gathered outside the prison. John George Haigh's motives were never clear, despite his insanity pleas. Some believe he thought he was a vampire, who enjoyed drinking blood. Others think he was a cold-hearted killer who believed that he could get away with murder if the body was never found.